Today I am going to do my speech on in-home gun safety. In 2007, according to pediatrics.com, there was 1,375 children that were injured due to accidental shootings, and 122 deaths with children due to accidental gun shootings. Proper in-home gun safety can prevent accidental gun shooting injuries and fatalities. When I was younger, I actually grew up in a home that had several different types of guns. My dad was a very large hunter, plus he just liked guns. He had pistols of different types. He had military-issued guns. He was in Vietnam. He had shotguns, rifles. He actually had a small room dedicated for all this and his ammunition, and he actually reloaded a lot of his own guns, so he even had gunpowder in the house. And this small room, he had all his stuff in it, which he always kept locked. And I actually have a lot of really fond memories of when my dad would let us kids shoot the guns. And I remember our big thing was we liked to shoot the pop cans. And I actually, to this day, I have a small what was remaining of the bullet that was in a pop can. So I actually have a lot of really fond memories of being around guns as a child, but I also remember my dad telling us when we were using the guns that some of the typical gun safety concerns, like you don't put your trigger on until you're ready, your finger on the trigger until you're ready to shoot, you aim at what you intend on shooting, you know what's behind your target, and all those fundamentals of gun safety. But just because you're educated or your parents educate you, accidents can still happen, and oftentimes they happen when your parents aren't even home. And I should know because my brother shot me with a BB gun. And don't let a BB gun fool you, because a lot of people think, oh, that's a BB gun. It's just a BB gun. People view a BB gun like it's not a high caliber rifle. Well, a gun is a gun, and a BB gun can do damage. Trust me, I know. So, according to the audience analysis I took, all of you guys know either someone who has guns or you yourself have a gun. And actually 3 of you know of people that have injuries due to accidental shootings. As a matter of fact, one of you knows of an individual who was shot by a BB gun and is blind in one eye. So there again, a BB gun can do damage, and it should be shown the same amount of respect as a high caliber rifle. So exactly what can we do to keep our family and our friends safe? Well, education enhanced with trigger locks and gun safes is a good start on keeping your family safe. So let's first talk about education, and I want to talk a little bit about education as far as our children goes first, and then on to parents. Parents, you should really talk to your children about gun safety, especially if you have guns in your home, and you should really keep it age appropriate. So for example, if you go to the website, the NRA website, which is www.nra.gov, there's a program, and it's called it's Eddie Eagle Gun Safe Program, and it keeps it very age appropriate. It's for elementary based students, and it conveys 4 basic concepts of what a child should do when they see a gun, which is stop, don't touch, leave the area, and go tell an adult. Simple. Very simple. Now, as your children start to grow and they age and they become wiser, you can have them take gun safety, and they can go through that training when that particular point in time comes in their life. If you visit the website for the DNR, which is www.dnr.gov, you can search for hunter safety classes. Now, this doesn't mean that your child has to go hunting by any means. It's just a good basic hunter safeties and gun safety rules that your kids should have and should really know, especially if they are in a home with guns, and even if they're not. I mean, if you look around, especially in the state of Wisconsin, so many of us know people who have guns, and our kids are going to go to people's houses that have guns, and people are going to come to our houses and we have guns. So it's just something that is very good that you should have. And parents, as far as your education level goes, one of the most important things that I think you should know really is that you should not leave your guns and your ammunition in the same place. So many people store this stuff in the same place, and you really shouldn't. And we'll talk more about storage later. But you should keep those two separate, and keeping like your handgun and a shoebox on the top of your closet, that's just not adequate. Or in your top of your dresser drawer. Just because it's your bedroom doesn't mean our children aren't going to go in there and find a gun and be a result of one of these accidental shootings and, heaven forbid, a fatality. Which leads me to my next point about trigger locks. Trigger locks are very beneficial, and there are several different types. Now, there's the cable trigger locks, there's keyless trigger locks, there's the key trigger locks, and the very important thing that I would like to tell you is that trigger locks, they're all different. They have some for rifles and shotguns and pistols, and not every trigger lock for a pistol will fit the same pistol. So you might have a pistol Glock, and your trigger lock might not necessarily fit that gun. So it's very important. The best thing to do is when you purchase the trigger lock, and did you know it only costs like $10 you can get a trigger lock? That's a pretty small investment for something very important to prevent a shooting accident or fatality. But you should really go to a gunsmith dealer to purchase your trigger lock, just because a gunsmith, they're in the business of guns. So you should really go to a gun dealer, and they can help you, and it's a very painless process. It takes about 5-10 minutes. You tell them exactly what you have. They'll be able to tell you the best trigger lock for you, and they can even show you there at the store how to install it. So it's a very, very beneficial means. However, although I am in favor of trigger locks, and I have trigger locks on all our guns at the house, I do want to say that it's more so for the benefit of small children, where small children don't have the know-how of tampering, so it's going to stop them from firing this gun accidentally. And it's very important that when you put these trigger locks on, you don't have them loaded, because there have been accidents when people think, well, I can leave my gun loaded because it's a trigger lock. Well, while they're installing a trigger lock, they shoot themselves. So it's very important. Don't have your guns loaded and install a trigger lock. It's just not safe. So what I want to mention, though, although I am, like I said, I'm in favor of trigger locks, older children and adults have been known to tamper with them and making the trigger locks effective. They'll use such things as bolt cutters, drills, and other tools, and it's not foolproof, but if they're determined enough, they can get into these trigger locks. So like I said, it's most benefits very small children. So the best option is a gun safe, and a gun safe is really almost the next best thing to not having a gun in your home. Now, the gun safe that I have for our guns, we paid $100 for, and you can spend anywhere from under $100 to $1,000, well over $1,000. Our gun safe was $100, and now it's not fireproof. So if you want to get a fireproof safe, there is a little added bonus in that. You know, you can put your other prized possessions in a fireproof gun safe, such as like your jewelry or your important paperwork, family photos. So that's just another nice thing to think about. You know, you can use it for other things than guns, but you're able to lock up your guns. Boom, locked up, put away. Now our guns, I actually have them trigger locked and they're locked up in the safe. Now, as far as your ammunition goes, you should not store your ammunition in the same spot as your guns. What's recommended is that you take your ammunition and you store it in a separate lockbox. And you can have that in your gun safe, but you should have them stored and both locked up separately. And obviously you want to have your keys not somewhere where it's accessible to your children, most naturally. But a gun safe can be very beneficial, and just it's very self-assuring knowing that they're just locked up, they're out of the way. And oftentimes, you know, they can weigh quite a bit, so people will usually put them like in their basement or in a closet, depending on what, you know, your purpose of your gun safe is. And again, I would go to a gun dealer just because they're in the line of business and they can help you get you the best safe for what your needs are for your family. And you know, a gun cabinet isn't bad either, but you know, a gun cabinet is usually got glass in it. It's very easy to get into, although it's better to have it locked up than not. So education is very important. Accidents can still happen. We've discussed how proper gun safety can prevent accidental gun shootings and fatalities through education and with the enhancement of trigger locks and of safes. So although I encourage people who really are passionate about having their guns, and those that, whether you hunt or you collect or whatever, home protection, I encourage you that if you don't have trigger locks, you don't have a safe, the next time you're out and about, you're in the mall, stop at Shields, go get a trigger lock. You know, a trigger lock is not 100% foolproof, although I'm a believer of them. It's not 100% foolproof. Having something on it is better than nothing. And like I said, a very basic safe to lock up your guns. I feel this is an investment that we can't afford not to make. This investment will help us keep safe our most valuable and priceless possessions, and that being of our family and of our friends.